How's it going, everybody? I hope everyone's doing well and having a great day. It's been 2 weeks, so we have another dev update to talk about. There's some interesting stuff for Build 42 this week, but before we talk about it, first let's quickly talk about patch 41.72. The next patch is not out yet, though that's not due to a lack of trying. The main issue is when driving next to or in a car with someone with a much higher ping or lower ping than you while on a multiplayer server. So until they fix that, unfortunately, we won't be able to play the next patch. Though the next patch will bring in a lot of quality of life changes. If you want the rundown on that, be sure to check out my last video on the matter. Alongside with the changes noted in the last update, we will also be seeing updates to food recipes, other food items, polygonal foraging zones instead of the current rectangular zones, which means that foraging will be more accurate, and new map tiles like the Rich District in Louisville, baby cribs, heavy machinery, and so much more. That's pretty much it for the next patch coming to the game, so let's move on to talk about Build 42. The first thing to talk about is the new crafting system. With the new crafting system, there will also be new professions, new items, new profession workstations, and a new crafting tree. They haven't said what new items or new professions will be added to the game, but in an example they gave, they talked about a blacksmith, so there's a good chance that that will be one of the professions we see. When it comes to crafting, the new system will take into account the stats of the input items to determine the stats of the output item. For example, let's say you want to make a hammer. The two main components you would need for a hammer are a hammer head and a wooden handle. The wooden handle could have a higher quality and condition depending on the skill of the carpenter who made it and the wood used, while the hammerhead could have higher stats for the metal used and the skill of the blacksmith who made it. Both of these high stat items would then be combined to make a high quality hammer in good condition. Conversely, crafting with lower quality and condition items would result in lower quality and condition crafted items. These crafted items can then be used and placed in the game world where it will keep its same stats. A cool example given for how this could work is, let's say you have a shotgun and you want to make a trap to protect some valuable loot. You can make a shotgun trap, and the shotgun used in the trap will have the same range, damage, and condition as the one used to craft the trap. Over time, the trap can be triggered, slowly reducing the condition of the shotgun. Eventually, you or another player disarms the trap and takes the shotgun for themselves. The shotgun will have the same damage and range as it did when it was originally incorporated into the trap, but since it's been used, it will have the current condition attributed to it and presumably any ammo that wasn't used. I think this new crafting system will be much more interesting from a gameplay point of view, and I would really like to see how NPCs will interact with different systems in the game. The last major things to discuss are how animals in the next build will interact, migrate, and update. First, let's just talk about how they will update. Unlike most things in the world of Project Zomboid, animals need to eat and drink, otherwise, like you, they'll die. So, the game needs to keep track of their hunger levels and their thirst levels. When you are around these animals, these stats will be updated every game tick. But when you are far away, having them update every game tick could be resource intensive on your computer. So, to combat that, they will have these animal stats update every in-game hour. This will just help your performance when you're away from your animals so that the game can just keep running smoothly. Next, let's talk about animal migration. Wild animals like deer will roam around the map, having nodes where they can switch their paths and interact with different groups of animals. The player will have to learn these migration paths on their own, with the possibility of having things the player can loot to help determine the migration paths. The player can of course hunt the deer, but killing certain members of the deer family could have unforeseen consequences. For example, killing a buck will cause baby deer not to be able to spawn in that group. From there, either all the deer in that group will eventually die off, or they will encounter another buck who will then be added to that group, and fauna can start spawning in again. So not only does the player first have to be able to find the animals, they must also learn which member is the best to hunt so that you can also hunt for food in the near future. This next part is a huge maybe on the devs' part, but they say they may add in a way to help track animals, like looking at how fresh their poop is. If added, this will be through the foraging system, but we will just have to wait and see if it is finalized. Lastly, on a quick side note, the devs have not finalized the list of animals that will be added to the game, though they do have models for domestic animals, deer, rats, squirrels, and larger birds, though they did not say which species of birds. But that's it for this week. Leave a like if you feel like it, and subscribe if you want more Project Zomboid news. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.